What is the most powerful moment in intimacy? The one that leaves a mark not just on the body, but deep inside the soul. It isn't the act itself. It isn't the touch or even the closeness. The most powerful moment is the one right before. That fragile space of silence, that pause where nothing has yet happened, but everything is about to happen. In that instant, hearts race, minds blur, and the body trembles with anticipation. That is the moment where power lives. That is the moment where memories are carved forever. And if you learn how to master this, you'll carry the kind of presence that no one ever forgets. Stay with me until the very end of this message, because what you discover here will show you how to turn that single instant into something unforgettable. A moment so powerful it will echo in his mind for the rest of his life. Presence is everything. Human psychology proves that our brains are wired to notice the buildup more than the release. Think about it. The anticipation of a gift feels almost bigger than the gift itself. Waiting for a long-awaited meeting fills us with more energy than the meeting itself. In the same way, the few seconds before intimacy carry more emotional electricity than the act. This is because the brain is addicted to anticipation. It craves what is about to happen. And when you know how to control this space, you control his mind. Most people rush through these sacred seconds. They skip past them as if they're just a doorway. But this moment is not just a doorway. It is the throne, the crown, the center of power. When you pause here, when you know how to hold this presence without rushing, you make him tremble in ways he never expected. He doesn't tremble because of what's happening. He trembles because of what hasn't yet happened. That's psychology at its purest form. Desire grows strongest when it is withheld. Think of it like music. The loudest beat in a song is powerful, but what makes it unforgettable is the silence right before the beat drops. That silence holds more tension than the sound itself. In relationships, the same rule applies. The silence before closeness is where the mind races and the heart beats hardest. If you can stay calm in that silence, if you can command it, you take control of the entire rhythm. He will not just remember the closeness, he will remember how you made him feel in the pause. Now, here's the secret. Presence is not about what you do. It's about what you radiate. Psychology teaches us that 93% of communication is nonverbal. That means words don't matter here. What matters is energy, posture, stillness, and intention. When you stand firm in yourself, when your body speaks confidence, when your silence feels unshakable, he feels it. His nervous system picks it up immediately. His heartbeat changes. His breathing changes. His entire body begins to align with your energy without a single word being spoken. This is why those who master presence never need to beg for attention. They don't chase. They don't rush. They don't try to prove. They simply exist in such a grounded, powerful way that the other person cannot ignore them. And right before intimacy, this truth becomes explosive. If you can hold that grounded presence, he won't just notice you, he will surrender to the moment. And here's what makes it even deeper. The male mind is not as strong as it pretends to be in this space. Men are taught to appear in control, but right before intimacy, their psychology is at its most vulnerable. In this instant, anticipation overwhelms logic. The body reacts faster than the brain. And if you can hold steady, if you can be more present than his own heartbeat, you'll own that moment. You'll make him tremble not out of weakness, but out of awe. This is the secret most people miss. They think love is about more action, more effort, more words. But in truth, it's about less rushing, less noise, less trying. It's about stillness, silence, and energy. That's what makes presence unforgettable. That's what makes someone lie awake at night, remembering, because presence is rare in this world. Most people are distracted, restless, or lost in thought. But if you can master this one skill, the ability to be completely present, you become unforgettable. So before the closeness, pause, feel your breath, hold your ground, let silence speak for you. Look into his eyes, not with need, but with calmness. Let him feel that you are fully there, not chasing, not proving, but simply being. In that moment, you have already won, because you've entered his mind before you ever let him enter you. And once you've marked his mind, his body has no choice but to follow. Stay until the end of this message, because everything you're hearing now is only the beginning. The deeper secrets you're about to learn will show you how to turn presence into power, silence into trembling devotion, and anticipation into forever memory. And once you master that, you'll never have to ask for love again. It will come to you naturally because you'll have become the one thing no one can forget. What lingers in the heart after intimacy is not the memory of the body, but the memory of emotion. The touch fades, the details blur, but the feeling stays alive. That's why emotional depth will always outweigh physical closeness. It's not the skin that binds two people, it's the soul. You must understand this truth if you want to create a connection that lasts, a bond that makes him tremble even when you are not near. Because the body can be satisfied and forgotten, but the emotions you awaken in him will follow him for life. Psychology shows us that people remember emotions far longer than they remember events. Think back on your own life. You may not recall every word spoken in a powerful moment, but you never forget how it made you feel. That is the imprint you leave behind when you choose emotional depth over surface pleasure. And here is where your true power lies. By reaching into his emotions, into his fears, his longings, his hunger for meaning, you create an intimacy far beyond the physical. You reach the place he guards from the world, the place where he hides his deepest truths. Most men walk through life with walls around their hearts. They show strength, but they fear vulnerability. They display control, but they crave acceptance. And right before intimacy, those walls begin to crack. This is the golden moment, the opening to something deeper. If you rush, you only touch his body. But if you stay patient, if you step into that emotional space, you touch his soul. And when you touch his soul, he never forgets you. Think about it. Every physical encounter eventually becomes a memory. But emotional encounters stay alive, playing again and again in the mind like echoes. This is why someone can still remember the exact tone of voice, the exact look in the eyes, or the exact warmth they felt from a moment years ago. That memory lives because it wasn't physical. It was emotional. And if you want to leave a mark that no one else can erase, you must master this. So what does emotional depth look like in practice? It looks like slowing down when everything in the world tells you to speed up. It looks like listening to his silence, not just his words. It looks like holding his gaze longer than expected, not with desperation, but with calm intensity. It looks like letting your energy say, I see you, I feel you, I am here with you. That is how you sink beneath the surface. That is how you bypass the body and reach the heart. And understand this, men crave this depth even if they don't admit it. Society teaches them to chase physical satisfaction, to measure success in moments of conquest. But deep inside, the male heart is starving for something different. It longs for recognition. It longs for safety in a world where it must always pretend to be strong. It longs for someone who can see past the armor. And if you can be that presence, if you can make him feel understood in his most unguarded state, you give him what the world cannot. That gift is rare. That gift is unforgettable. This is why emotional depth makes him tremble. Because in that moment, he is no longer just a man in control. He becomes human. He becomes vulnerable. He becomes open in a way that terrifies him and excites him at the same time. And once you awaken this state within him, he will never look at you the same way again. You will not just be the one he touched. You will be the one who touched him where no one else dared to go. Emotional depth is also the foundation of lasting bonds. The body gets tired, the spark of passion can fade, but the emotions you weave into his soul become a chain that never breaks. When you give him depth, you create loyalty. When you give him depth, you create devotion. When you give him depth, you create a trembling memory that burns brighter than anything physical ever could. So pause before the act. Let your presence sink deeper. Don't just be there physically, be there emotionally. Let him feel the weight of your silence, the calm of your breathing, the strength of your heart. Let him sense that in this moment, he is not just wanted for his body, but valued for his soul. And that is what will make him shake. That is what will make him remember. That is what will make him yours, long after the moment ends. When you master this, you no longer compete with the fleeting attraction of the physical world. You rise above it, because anyone can touch the body. Few can touch the heart, and fewer still can touch the soul. Choose the path of depth, and you will not just be remembered, you will be etched into his very being, trembling forever in the memory of what you gave him. Silence has a language of its own, and it speaks louder than any words ever could. In the moments before intimacy, silence is not emptiness, it is energy, it is tension. It is the invisible thread pulling two souls closer together. Most people are afraid of silence because it exposes everything. It strips away distraction. It reveals truth. But if you learn to embrace silence instead of fearing it, you turn it into a weapon of power, one that leaves him trembling before a single touch even happens. Think about the way the human mind works. Our brains hate uncertainty. When something is left unsaid, when a moment stretches without words, the mind fills in the space with imagination. That imagination is often more powerful than reality. A single pause can create more desire than 100 sentences. This is why silence is so magnetic. It forces him to feel instead of think, and feelings once awakened are impossible to ignore. Psychology proves that people bond deeply during moments of shared quiet. Couples who can sit together in silence without discomfort are the ones who build the strongest connections. Why? Because silence demands presence. It demands authenticity. You can fake words, but you cannot fake energy. In silence, your true self radiates. Your calmness, your confidence, your certainty, these become louder than any declaration of love or desire. Now, imagine this right before intimacy. You don't rush. You don't fill the air with nervous chatter. Instead, you hold the silence. You let your eyes speak, your breathing speak, your presence speak. In that pause, he feels the weight of everything you are. His heart races not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't. That is the art of silence. It forces him to tremble in the mystery of what's about to unfold. The truth is, silence creates anticipation. And anticipation is the strongest fuel for human desire. The brain releases dopamine not when it receives a reward, but when it expects one. This means the wait, the pause, the silence before the moment is what actually makes the moment powerful. When you can master silence, you control this buildup. You make him crave you more with stillness than anyone else can with words. But silence is not just about mystery, it is about safety. In silence, he feels your presence fully. He senses that you are not afraid of the moment. You are not rushing to escape it. You are not hiding behind noise. You are confident enough to simply be. And this confidence transfers to him. It makes him trust you. It makes him surrender. Because the one who is most comfortable in silence is always the one in control. Think of silence like the pause between heartbeats. The heart does not beat in one constant stream. It beats with rhythm. It expands. It contracts. It rests. It pulses. Without the silence between beats, there would be no rhythm, no life. Intimacy works the same way. Without silence, there is no tension. Without tension, there is no depth. Without depth, there is nothing memorable. Silence gives rhythm to closeness, and rhythm is what makes the experience unforgettable. Too often, people waste silence by filling it with nervous energy. They talk too much. They move too quickly. They try to cover the moment with distractions. But real strength is in restraint. Real power is in being still. When you can sit in silence without breaking, you prove that you are not desperate, not anxious, not afraid. You prove that you are in control of yourself and the moment. And nothing makes a person tremble more than realizing you are unshakable in the silence they cannot escape. Here is the secret. Silence is intimacy without touch. It is closeness without words. It is connection without action. And when you can use it well, it leaves a deeper mark than anything else. Because silence magnifies everything. It magnifies eye contact. It magnifies breath. It magnifies presence. Even the smallest movement in silence becomes monumental. A slight smile, a shift of the hand, a single glance, all of it becomes charged with meaning. That is the magic of silence. So when that moment comes, don't rush to fill the air. Don't be afraid of stillness. Let the silence grow heavy. Let it pull him deeper into the present. Let it make him wonder what you are thinking, what you are feeling, what is about to happen next. That wonder is what makes him tremble. That uncertainty is what keeps him addicted. That silence is what makes the moment last forever. Silence is not weakness. It is not absence. It is the purest form of presence. And when you master it, you no longer need to try to impress with words or gestures. You simply let the silence do the work for you. He will feel it in his bones. He will carry it in his memory. He will tremble in its weight long after the moment has passed, because silence, when embraced, becomes the loudest voice of all. The eyes carry a language deeper than any words, a truth that cannot be hidden or disguised. When silence surrounds you, the eyes become the loudest voice in the room. In that fragile moment before closeness, eye contact has the power to shatter walls, to strip away defenses, to expose what is most raw and human. It is in the eyes that connection becomes unshakable. It is in the eyes that he feels something greater than desire. He feels recognition. as if his very soul has been seen. The human brain is wired to respond to eyes in a way unlike anything else. Studies in psychology reveal that eye contact activates the same regions of the brain that process deep emotions and memory. This is why a single glance can feel more powerful than an entire conversation. When you lock eyes with him, you bypass logic, you bypass thought, you go straight into the emotional core. And once that core is reached, the body follows without resistance. Most people avoid deep eye contact because it is terrifying. Why? Because it reveals too much. The eyes don't lie. They show fear, love, desire, weakness, all without a single word. To look into someone's eyes without flinching requires courage. It requires presence. But when you do it, you create a bond that feels unbreakable. You show him that you are not afraid to see him and not afraid to be seen yourself. That is the moment vulnerability turns into trembling devotion. Imagine this: silence fills the space. The world grows still. And instead of turning away, you hold his gaze. You don't look with desperation. You don't look with need. You look with calm strength, as if you already know the depth of the moment. You let your eyes say, I am here. I am unshaken. Or I see you fully. That intensity is impossible to ignore. His chest tightens, his breath stumbles, his thoughts scatter. Because in that instant, he feels naked in a way no physical act could ever make him. The psychology behind this is powerful. Prolonged eye contact releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, into the body. This is the same chemical that makes a mother bond with her child. It is the same chemical that creates trust between lovers. When your eyes lock with his body is flooded with this signal of connection. His mind registers safety and intimacy, but his heart races because the vulnerability is overwhelming. That combination of safety and fear is what makes him tremble. He feels both protected and exposed at once, and that duality burns into his memory. The eyes are also mirrors. When you look deeply into his, he will see himself reflected back. And here is where your power lies. If he sees judgment in your eyes, he will close. If he sees emptiness, he will drift away. But if he sees acceptance, if he sees desire without desperation, if he sees calm strength, he will fall into you. Because what every man secretly longs for is to be fully seen without rejection. Your eyes can give him that gift in a single moment. Think about the moments you remember most in life. They are rarely filled with endless words. Instead, they are the times when someone looked at you in a way that made the world stop. A teacher who believed in you, or a friend who understood your pain, a lover who looked at you as if you were the only one alive. Those moments never fade because the eyes etch them into memory. You don't just remember them, you relive them. That is the power you hold in your gaze. But it is not about staring. It is about presence. It is about looking with intention, not force. It is about letting your eyes soften while holding steady. It is about showing that you are not afraid of his truth and not afraid to reveal your own. That kind of eye contact is rare in a distracted world. It cuts through the noise. It makes everything else disappear. It makes him tremble, not because of what is happening, but because of what is being revealed. So in that sacred pause before intimacy, use your eyes as the doorway. Let them carry your message without words. Let them say what your lips cannot. Let them speak of depth, of calm, of unwavering presence. When he looks into your eyes and feels that his soul has been seen, he will not just remember the moment, he will be changed by it. Because to be truly seen is the rarest gift a human being can receive. And once you've given him that, once your eyes have reached into the parts of him he hides from the world, nothing will ever be the same again. He will tremble not from fear, not from weakness, but from the overwhelming power of being known. That trembling will follow him forever, because every time he closes his eyes, he will see yours. Breath is life. It is the invisible rhythm that guides every heartbeat, every emotion, every moment of presence. When two people align their breathing, something extraordinary happens. Their bodies synchronize, their minds calm, and their hearts beat as if they are one. This is not poetry, it is science. Psychology and biology both reveal that breathing together creates a subconscious bond, one that can make him feel closer to you than words or touch ever could. In the quiet before intimacy, breath becomes the bridge that connects two souls. Think about it. When we are nervous, our breath becomes shallow. When we are calm, it slows. When we are excited, it quickens. Breath is the language of the nervous system. It tells the truth of how we feel, even when our words try to hide it. And when someone matches their breathing with yours, the body interprets it as safety, as closeness, as unity. It's as if his body whispers to him, "We are the same. We are connected. You belong here." That is why synchronized breathing creates trembling devotion. It bypasses thought and speaks directly to the unconscious mind. Picture this moment. The silence has already settled. Your eyes have locked into his. Now, without forcing it, you begin to breathe slowly, deeply, with intention. And almost without realizing it, he begins to follow your rhythm. His chest rises when yours rises. His chest falls when yours falls. In those seconds, his body is no longer his own. It has merged with yours, moving in harmony. This isn't something he can resist. His biology naturally mirrors what it feels, and in that mirroring, his guard collapses. He is no longer just himself. He is with you inside the same rhythm of life. Psychologists call this phenomenon entrainment. It happens when two people spend time in deep connection. Their bodies align, their breathing matches, even their heartbeats begin to sync. Lovers who breathe together not only feel closer, they create a memory that imprints at the deepest level of the nervous system. That memory stays long after the moment ends. He may not remember every detail, but his body will never forget what it felt like to merge with yours through breath. Breathing together is also an act of vulnerability. To expose your natural rhythm, to slow down enough for someone to notice, takes courage. Most people rush through moments, hiding their unease behind fast words and hurried actions. But when you pause and let your breath be seen, you reveal that you are not afraid of the moment. You reveal calmness, control, presence, and when he feels your grounded breath, it gives him permission to release his own anxiety. He lets go of tension he didn't even know he was holding. He exhales his defenses. And in that exhale, he surrenders to you. What makes this even more powerful is that breath carries emotion. A shaky breath reveals nerves. A deep breath reveals calm. A trembling breath reveals desire. Without saying a word, your breathing can tell him everything. And when you allow him to feel your rhythm, when you let him mirror it, you create a shared language beyond speech. It becomes a secret code only the two of you understand. Every inhale is closeness. Every exhale is release. Every shared rhythm is intimacy. The beauty of this is that it doesn't require effort. It doesn't require strategy. All it requires is presence. Slow down. Become aware of your own breath. Let it steady. Let it deepen. And then notice he will follow. His body, seeking harmony, will naturally align. And when it does, he will feel as if he is being pulled into you, not by force, but by something greater, something invisible, something undeniable. That is the trembling you want, not weakness, but surrender to connection he cannot control. This is why spiritual practices around the world use breath to connect people, whether in meditation, prayer, or deep rituals. Breath is the common ground of all humanity. It is the one rhythm every living being shares. When you master this, you are not just creating intimacy, you are creating union. You are reminding him on the deepest psychological level that he is not separate from you. He is with you, part of you, breathing with you. And once he experiences this, once he feels his body syncing with yours, he will never forget it. Because that kind of unity is rare. Most relationships never touch it. Most people never slow down enough to find it. But if you can give him this, if you can lead him into this silent, breathing bond, you will leave an imprint on him deeper than desire. You will leave him with the memory of what it feels like to belong fully to another soul. So before the moment unfolds, focus on your breath. Make it calm. Make it deep. Let it be the anchor of your presence. And without a word, invite him into that rhythm. Let him find himself inside your breathing. Let him feel that he is not just next to you, but a part of you. And when his body trembles in that shared rhythm, you will know that you have given him something unforgettable. The gift of union that goes beyond body, beyond mind, straight into the eternal memory of his soul. Touch is the bridge between two worlds, the physical and the emotional, but not all touch carries the same power. The truth is, the most unforgettable touch is not the one that rushes, but the one that lingers, the one that holds back when it could take more, the one that whispers instead of shouts. When you understand the psychology of touch, you realize that less is often more, that the delay, the slowness, the restraint, these are what make the body tremble and the memory burn forever. The human nervous system is built to respond to anticipation. When touch is rushed, the body enjoys it but quickly adapts. The feeling comes and goes. But when touch is slow, when it arrives like a wave instead of a storm, the body cannot ignore it. The brain floods with dopamine, the chemical of reward, not because of the touch itself, but because of the weight. This is why the first brush of fingers, the lightest graze of skin, can send shivers stronger than anything else. The slowness makes it powerful. The restraint makes it unforgettable. Think about the difference between someone grabbing your hand quickly versus someone barely brushing their fingertips across your palm. The first feels ordinary, even careless. The second lingers in your mind because it awakens nerves you didn't even know were waiting. This is the secret of touch without rushing. It engages the imagination. It makes him feel more than he thought possible. And it tells him that you are not here to consume him, but to savor him. That distinction alone makes him tremble. When you combine this with breath and presence, the effect is multiplied. Your slow breathing steadies the moment. Your calm gaze pulls him deeper. And now your touch, restrained and patient, seals it. You are no longer just touching his body. You are playing with time itself. You are teaching him that intimacy is not about racing to the peak, but about drowning in the climb. That is what his soul is starving for, even if he doesn't yet know it. The psychology here is simple. The slower the touch, the stronger the memory. The more delayed the pleasure, the deeper the desire. Because human beings are wired to crave what they cannot immediately have. By slowing down, you create space for him to feel every sensation. You allow his body to catch up with his emotions. And in that space, the trembling begins. His skin reacts, his breath changes, his mind loses control. He is no longer in charge of his body, you are. And it isn't about force, it isn't about intensity. It's about energy. Or even the softest touch, when given with intention, can make him feel more than the strongest grip. Because it is not the pressure of the touch that matters, but the presence behind it. When your energy says, I am fully here, I am savoring this, his body feels it, his mind believes it. He experiences something far beyond the surface. This is why rushing destroys connection. Rushing tells the nervous system, this is nothing special. Let's move quickly. But slowing down tells it, this is sacred. This is worth remembering. And the body obeys. It trembles not from force, but from reverence. It shakes not because it is overwhelmed, but because it is undone. Touch without rushing also communicates strength. Anyone can take quickly, but only someone strong can hold back. Only someone confident can resist the urge to hurry. And when he feels this restraint, he feels your power. He realizes you are not desperate. You are not clinging. You are not proving. You are choosing. And that choice makes him surrender because he knows he cannot control it. Think of the way a candle burns. A flame that blazes too fast dies quickly, but a flame that burns slowly lasts, glowing steady, giving warmth long into the night. Touch works the same way. The slow flame burns into memory. The fast flame disappears. If you want to leave a mark he cannot erase, you must choose the slow fire. You must let touch build like music, each note more powerful because of the pause before the next. So when that moment comes, don't rush to claim him. Don't hurry to prove anything. Let your touch arrive like the tide, soft, steady, patient, inevitable. Brush instead of grasp, pause instead of push. Let him ache in the waiting. Let him tremble in the slowness. Let him feel that this is not just touch. It is presence poured through your fingertips. And when you master this, you will never need to chase his attention because his body will remember you. His mind will replay the way you made him feel. His soul will crave the patience you gave him. The world may give him speed, distraction, and shallow moments, but you will have given him something no one else dares to offer, the power of touch without rushing. That is what will echo in him forever. Words are powerful, but it is not always the loudest ones that carry the most weight. Sometimes it is the quietest voice, spoken at the softest volume, that sinks the deepest into the human mind. Whispering right before intimacy is more than speech. It is psychology. It is a way of bypassing defenses, slipping under the noise of thought, and leaving a mark on his subconscious. When you whisper into his mind, you don't just speak to his ears, you speak directly to his soul. The human brain reacts differently to whispers than it does to normal speech. A whisper demands focus. It forces attention. It creates intimacy instantly because the sound is soft enough that the listener must lean in, must pay close attention. In that moment, he cannot ignore you. His entire awareness narrows to your voice, your breath, your words, and those words, delivered gently, carry 10 times the impact of anything said in a normal tone. That is why whispering right before closeness becomes unforgettable. But it isn't only about volume, it's about intention. When you whisper with calm confidence, your voice becomes more than sound. It becomes a presence. The warmth of your breath against his ear, the rhythm of your tone, the softness of your words, they all combine to create an atmosphere he cannot escape. His body responds, his breath shifts, and his skin trembles, not because of what you said, but because of how you said it. Whispering is not about information. It's about sensation. Think of the way a secret is told. When someone leans in and whispers something just for you, it feels like the world stops. You feel chosen. You feel trusted. Or you feel special. That's the psychology at work. Whispering tells his mind, this is for you alone. This is something the world cannot hear. And when he feels that, he bonds. He remembers. He trembles because the moment feels sacred, private, and eternal. The words you whisper do not need to be many. In fact, fewer words hold more power. A single phrase, spoken slowly, can echo in his mind for years. This is because whispers bypass analysis. The brain doesn't dissect them the same way it dissects a long speech. Instead, it lets them sink in whole, like a seed planted in the soil of memory. And when emotions water that seed, it grows into something unforgettable. You might whisper his name and suddenly it becomes more than a sound. It becomes a promise, a recognition, a claim. You might whisper that you see him, that you feel him, that he belongs in this moment with you, and his body will respond with shivers he cannot control, because what the male heart secretly longs for is not just passion, but affirmation. He wants to feel chosen, accepted, desired in a way deeper than physical need. A whisper gives him that gift in the most powerful form. Psychology shows that tone of voice matters more than words themselves. A soft, steady whisper triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, calming the mind while exciting the body. It tells him he is safe while making him feel exposed at the same time. That paradox is what makes him tremble. He feels grounded yet undone, comforted yet consumed. And all of it is created by the gentlest sound. Whispering is also about timing. Words shouted in the wrong moment mean nothing, but words whispered in the right pause can change everything. Right before closeness, when silence has already built tension and touch, or has already awakened his senses, a whisper lands like lightning. It cuts through the stillness, not by breaking it, but by deepening it. In that second, he is yours completely. His body listens. His heart listens. His soul listens. The beauty of whispering is that it lingers. Long after the moment has passed, he will hear those words again in his mind. He will remember the tone, the warmth, the way his body reacted. He will replay it without trying, because whispers don't just enter the ears. They echo in the heart. And that echo becomes part of his memory, carved deeper than any physical touch. So when the moment arrives, don't waste words, or don't try to impress with speeches or explanations. Lean close, or lower your voice. Let the air carry your presence through sound. Let your whisper be soft, steady, and filled with intention. Say less, but let it mean more. Say little, but let it echo forever. Because in the end, trembling does not come from what is loud. It comes from what is quiet. It comes from the whisper that reaches where no one else has reached. It comes from the words spoken so softly, so intentionally that they fuse with his very being. And when you give him that, when you whisper not to his ears but to his soul, you become unforgettable. Mystery is not the absence of truth, it is the presence of depth. What makes a moment unforgettable is not when everything is exposed, but when something remains hidden, just out of reach, just beyond understanding. The human mind is wired to crave what it cannot fully grasp. When you leave a part of yourself unrevealed, you awaken a hunger in him that never fades. This is the power of mystery, and it is why some moments echo in the soul long after the body forgets. Think about desire itself. It does not live in what is already possessed. It lives in what is almost within reach, yet still untouchable. When a man feels he has discovered everything, his mind relaxes, his curiosity fades. But when he senses there is more, something deeper he has not yet unlocked, he becomes restless. He becomes addicted. His thoughts return again and again because the unanswered questions keep him searching, keep him trembling. Mystery is not about distance, it is about depth. It is not about withholding love or hiding affection. It is about showing enough to touch him while keeping enough concealed to keep his soul awake. When you create this balance, you are no longer just a person in his life. You become a puzzle his heart cannot stop solving. And every time he thinks he understands you, you reveal another layer, another shade, another glimpse of who you are. That unfolding never ends, and it binds him to you without force, without demand, through the natural pull of human psychology. The truth is, people treasure what they cannot fully explain. They treasure what feels rare, what cannot be repeated or replaced. When he looks at you and realizes that no matter how close he comes, there is still more of you to discover, he trembles. Because deep down, he knows this moment is not ordinary. It is not predictable. It is not something he can capture, own, or control. And that realization plants a fear of loss that makes the memory unforgettable. Mystery thrives in the small things. The pause before you speak, the way your eyes linger. Without explanation, the slight smile that suggests you know something he doesn't. These subtleties are not accidents, they are signals. They awaken his imagination, and imagination is stronger than reality. Reality can be seen, touched, explained. But imagination has no limits, and once his mind begins to wonder about you, it will never stop. That wondering becomes obsession, or that obsession becomes devotion. There is another reason mystery is so powerful. It awakens respect. When everything is given too quickly, the mind takes it for granted. But when something feels rare, the human heart protects it. Mystery tells him you are close, but you are not done yet. There is more to earn, more to cherish, more to discover. And instead of relaxing, he rises. Instead of stepping back, he leans forward. This is how you inspire not just desire, but pursuit, a pursuit that never ends, because the goal is not an end point, it is the endless discovery of you. Mystery also transforms vulnerability. When you allow him to see pieces of your soul, but not the entire picture, he feels trusted yet challenged. He feels included yet curious. This balance keeps him awake inside the relationship, because mystery reminds him that love is not something static. It is something alive, something evolving. And when love evolves, it never dies. Or think of the stories that stay in your memory. They are not the ones where every detail was explained. They are the ones where something was left unsaid, where you had to. Imagine the ending where a question was left burning in your mind. That is how memory works. It holds on to the incomplete because the incomplete demands attention. That is exactly why mystery and intimacy is so powerful. It creates a moment that cannot be neatly closed, a memory that refuses to fade. So when the silence grows, when the eyes meet, when the closeness feels overwhelming, do not give everything at once. Leave a space, leave a pause, leave a hint that there is more but not yet revealed. Let him feel that you are not just a body, not just a moment, but a world too vast to be fully known. Because the more he realizes he cannot fully capture you, the more he will hold on, the more he will tremble at the thought of losing what he does not yet understand. Mystery is the bridge between the present and the future. It ensures that one moment is not the end, but the beginning of 1,000 more. It ensures that his memory of you is not closed, but open, open to wonder, open to longing, open to endless discovery. And when you master the art of mystery, you do not just give him a night, you give him a lifetime of echoes. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as weakness, but in truth, it is the purest form of strength. To be vulnerable is to allow yourself to be seen, not just in body, but in heart, in fear, in hope, in every fragile corner of your soul. And it is in this exposure, in this trembling honesty, that the deepest bonds are formed. Because when a man feels your vulnerability, something shifts within him. He realizes that in this moment, you are not hiding behind walls. You are not trying to impress, control, or dominate. You are simply allowing yourself to be human, and that humanness awakens his own. Human psychology reveals a powerful truth. People fall in love not with perfection, but with authenticity. Perfection is intimidating. Authenticity is disarming. When he senses that you are willing to let your guard down, he feels trusted in a way words cannot describe. That trust stirs responsibility within him. It calls out the part of him that wants to protect, to nurture, to hold on and never let go. And in that instant, he trembles, not from dominance, but from devotion. Think about it. When someone shows you their polished side, you may admire them, but you do not necessarily feel connected. Admiration is distant. But when someone lets you see the cracks, the softness, the realness, you feel close. You feel bonded. You feel necessary in their life. This is why vulnerability creates unforgettable intimacy. It is not about showing weakness, but about showing that you are not afraid to be real. And realness touches the human heart more deeply than any performance ever could. Men are often raised to hide vulnerability. They are taught to be strong, composed, in control. But when you give him permission to feel weak with you, when you show him that it is safe to tremble, you unlock a side of him he rarely reveals. In that rawness, he feels free, he feels alive. And he ties that freedom to you, because you are the one who allowed it to surface. This is how bonds move beyond attraction and into devotion. When the mask falls and the truth remains. Vulnerability does not mean collapsing into insecurity. It means being unafraid to share the truth of who you are. It means allowing silence when words feel unnecessary. It means letting your eyes show longing without fear of rejection. It means not rushing to cover up the tears that fall or the trembling in your voice. These moments speak louder than confidence ever could because they are human, and humanity is what stirs the soul. When you reveal vulnerability, you invite him to do the same. And once two people enter that space of honesty, the bond becomes unbreakable. He will remember the way your voice shook, not because it was weak, but because it was real. He will remember the softness of your expression, not because it was perfect, but because it was unguarded. And the human brain, shaped by evolution, ties the memory of vulnerability to significance. What feels fragile feels precious, or what feels rare feels sacred. But vulnerability also requires courage. Many fear it because it carries risk. To open yourself is to risk being hurt. Yet, without risk, there is no true connection. Every deep love story is written in the language of vulnerability. And those who dare to step into it, even trembling, create the kinds of memories that never fade. When you let him see you as you are, not as the world demands you to be, not as society has polished you to appear, but simply as you in that moment, with your heart bare, he will never forget. There is a paradox here. The very thing we try to hide is often what makes us most unforgettable. We hide our fears, our insecurities, our tears, believing they will make us less desirable. But when shared with intention, they make us irreplaceable, because no one else can offer the same truth, the same story, the same soul. And in revealing it, you give him something no one else can give, the gift of seeing the real you. So allow yourself to tremble. Allow your voice to crack. Allow your eyes to well up with emotion. It is not weakness. It is the strongest choice you can make. Because in that moment, you are not wearing a mask. You are not pretending. You are showing him something the rest of the world never sees. And when he realizes he is the only one you trusted with that rawness, he will hold it as sacred. He will never forget it. In the end, vulnerability is not about losing control. It is about creating connection. It is not about lowering your worth. It is about raising the depth of the bond. When you allow him to see you at your most open, he sees not just a partner, but a soul. And souls, once revealed, leave marks that no time can erase. That is why vulnerability embraced with courage is not weakness. It is the foundation of trembling devotion that lasts forever. What seals a moment into memory forever is not grand gestures, but the silent imprints left on the soul. Long after the words fade, long after the physical closeness softens, what remains is the feeling you created, the emotional signature that becomes impossible to erase. Human psychology shows us that people rarely remember details with perfect accuracy, but they never forget how you made them feel. And this is where the power of sealing a memory forever lies, not in perfection, but in emotional resonance. When you allow vulnerability to rise, you open the door. But when you follow it with depth, intention, and presence, you carve the memory into stone. It becomes the kind of moment that replays in his mind without effort, like a song that will not leave, like a vision that returns at the quietest hours of the night. That trembling he felt wasn't random. It was his body's recognition that something sacred had just occurred. And his mind ties that sacredness to you. The truth is, the brain is wired to remember emotional peaks. Psychologists call this the peak end rule. We carry with us the strongest moment and how it ended. If you create a peak of raw authenticity and you end it with softness, grace, and a sense of warmth, his mind will store it as extraordinary. It will replay in his memory, not because he forces it, but because the nervous system cannot ignore what touched it so deeply. You have become imprinted on his emotional world. Think of the times in your life when someone left a lasting mark on you. It was not always the most polished, not always the most flawless, it was the most felt. It was the moment you realized you were safe, or the moment someone's eyes told you everything without speaking. That is what lingers. That is what binds. And you have the same power to give this to him, not by pretending, not by performing, but by being so present in the moment that he feels you more deeply than he has ever felt anyone before. Sealing a memory forever comes down to 3 truths: presence, intention, and closure. Presence means you are fully there, not distracted, not thinking of yourself, not rushing through, but living in that exact heartbeat. Intention means you are aware that this is not just a fleeting experience, but something that carries weight, something that can change both of you. And closure means ending with a softness that lingers, leaving no sharp edges, only warmth. When those 3 combine, the human heart cannot forget. Presence is rare in today's world. Most people live half in the moment and half in their thoughts. But when he feels you fully present, something stirs within him. He feels chosen. He feels valued. He feels like the only one that matters in that instant. That presence, more than any word, makes him tremble, because it tells him without speaking, you are enough, right here, right now. And that is the sentence every human being longs to feel in their soul. Intention adds weight. Without intention, moments slip away unnoticed. With intention, they transform into milestones. When you carry the silent knowledge that what you are creating together is significant, you act differently. You look differently. You hold differently. And he feels it. Even if you say nothing, your energy tells him this matters. And because it matters to you, it begins to matter to him. That is how memory etches itself into permanence, through the gravity of shared importance. Closure ensures that the ending leaves no confusion, no emptiness. It does not mean a dramatic finale. It means leaving him with something to hold on to, a gentle look, a lingering touch, a silence that feels complete, not awkward. The mind holds on to the last impression strongly, and when that impression is tenderness, it colors the entire memory as sacred. He will not just remember the trembling, he will remember how it ended, and the ending will seal it as unforgettable. Understand this. The human heart is always searching for anchors. In a world of noise, distraction, and endless passing experiences, the moments that stand out are the ones that feel timeless. You have the ability to give him that, to create a moment so powerful that no matter where life takes him, he returns to it in thought, again and again. That memory will not just live in his mind, it will live in his body, in the way his chest tightens when he recalls it, in the way his hands long to reach for you when it resurfaces. And here is the truth. When you seal a memory into someone's soul, you become unforgettable. Not because you were perfect, not because you followed a script, but because you created what no one else could. You made him feel alive, real, and safe all at once. You became the keeper of a moment he cannot replace. That is the essence of trembling forever. It is not in what you do once, but in what echoes endlessly after. So hold on to this wisdom. It is not the size of the action, but the depth of the connection. It is not how perfect you look, but how fully you show up. It is not about saying the right words, but about leaving him with a feeling he cannot shake. That is how you seal the memory. That is how you become the echo that never fades, the presence that never leaves, the soul he trembles to remember for the rest of his life.